Hello and welcome to Harnessing Happiness with myself, Sarah J. Naylor. Thank you, as always, for joining me. It's always great to know where you are all over the world, which is brilliant. I love it. I love it. I love it. And talking about all over the world, I'm tuning in today to New Zealand. So, hello, New Zealand. I feel like the Eurovision. Come in, New Zealand. Can we have your results, please? So anyway, I'll hand over to Adam. Adam, please introduce yourself to my amazing global audience. Not for the first time, though, because if you want to rewind, Adam was one of my very, very first guests. So it's great to have him back and to catch up and see what's been going on. Over to you, Adam.
So thank you, Sarah. I was going to start with trying to do my Kiwi impression. I'm really good at impressions, but for some reason, I can't do a Kiwi accent. It either is too Aussie or too South African. So I just really struggle. Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name's Adam. I moved from the UK, Nottingham. That's how Sarah and I know each other. I've now been living in New Zealand for 5 years, got here just before COVID. I am a disruptive change maker, predominantly working with CEOs, business owners, and leadership teams, and get in their heads, challenge them, ask a lot of questions. So it's great to be on the other side where somebody else is asking me questions.
Yay! Indeed, indeed. I quite like it when I have the tables turned on me as well. It's really, yeah, it gives me the chance to really get my head out. So I love asking questions. I mean, it's something I've done all my life, as you know. I mean, I was thinking about it the other day. I mean, in 36 years in recruitment and working as a coach, I mean, I've helped like thousands and thousands of people, change careers or do change their lives in one way, shape, or form.
So have you got one or two go-to questions?
Have I got one or two go-to questions? Well, do you know what I like to do, Adams? I always like to try and find that hook in to find out
Yeah,
what it is. So I'm going to come into you first and go, blimey,
sure.
Adam, it is nearly 20 years since we first met because I met you through the rugby when I was first single
Yeah.
post-divorce. So I will come into something like that so we can build some rapport. Then I start asking questions. So it for me when I am meeting anybody for the first time, it's just nibbling around and just finding out a little bit. And because I've got a background in careers, I always like to sort of dig in and I'm curious.
Mm,
Curiosity, you can't beat a bit of curiosity, can you? So it's like, okay.
no.
So Adam, what made you move to New Zealand? Let's go in with that.
Oh, okay. Uh, so short or long answer?
Oh, well, we've got 20 minutes or half an hour, therefore, so it depends on how
Okay,
short.
cool. I could, so that could be a 20-minute answer. Look, I think
Exactly, that's the short one.
yeah, fundamentally, I think for me, what had happened was, I'd become stale,
Mhm,
I'd become comfortable, and I could sense and feel that things were changing and not necessarily for the better.
mhm.
So I felt for me and for the family that we needed to make a move. And we'd set a goal or intention that by August 2019, we would have decided where we were going to move to. Originally, we were looking at Totnes or Forest Row in the UK, and then an opportunity came about. This new school that was being built out here in New Zealand. It was like, do you know what? That's where we're going to go. So
Slightly further
just
afield than Totnes.
yeah, absolutely. But with it came challenge, fear, a whole raft of emotions and feelings. But absolutely, definitely worth it.
Brilliant. Yeah, and I think you've just hit the nail on the head there, haven't you? With that word challenge. Well, intentions is one word because I think having an intention is more powerful actually than a goal because a goal can be limiting in itself, can't it? But when you've got an intention, you can thread that energy through all the things that you actually do rather than it
Yep.
arriving at one point because we can have a direction we want to go into, but our path to that end result can go in lots of different ways. But if you've got that intention, that energy through it, like you said, Totnes to New Zealand, I mean, it was the energy of what you wanted to achieve is what brought about the result, is what manifested it, because it's the thoughts that manifest the reality that we actually live in. And the challenge. Oh my gosh, what do you if
Mm.
you don't have a challenge? I think I've had enough challenges for a while. However, you do, I think I had several
Well, so
several
I
years
think the
worth
thing
in one
I'm
year.
so I think so interestingly, I've also got my own podcast, but I also run a radio show locally here. And I had a guest on today. He's an educator, and he was talking about this aspect where, as kids, even at an early age, the aspect of when we're given labels or the perception of failure, it's like actually when we can get into a habit and a routine of kind of always being comfortably uncomfortable,
Mhm.
and that's kind of where resilience comes from.
Yeah.
I remember speaking on the show last time, talking about the concept of good thing, bad thing, who knows. I'm
Mhm.
not going to repeat that. If listeners want to know more, they can kind of go back. But um, for me, I need to be on the edge of my comfort zone consistently
Mhm.
because that's where I'm growing, and through that uncomfortableness, through the challenge, gets me to the stage of living a better life.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. I mean, I think back to 2023, when I had literally, I was ambushed personally, professionally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, and physically, all at the same time, quite literally. And I'm not even blowing that out of proportion, because that is exactly how it was. I mean, I like to think of myself as a resilient person. I've always had this mental focus of everything's working out wonderfully. I'm very sort of spiritual. I'm very attuned. I work with a flow, and then you're faced with all of this, and you go, "How is this everything working out wonderfully?" So that is like that fundamental belief that I'd always lived my life by was challenged,
Mhm.
and it forced me to actually, in the end, just surrender. And this is powerful as well. You surrender, and you have to let go, and you have to
Mhm.
stop trying to control the outcome. You have to literally just trust the process and
Mhm.
know that everything is working out wonderfully. And now when I look back, I mean, I kind of got this partway through the process. This sort of hit me. I can't remember. After I'd probably been banging my head against the garage door, and I'm not kidding, I ended up with a bruise on my forehead because, I felt that everything was blocked in, cemented up. There was absolutely no exit point. It's like, well, what else can I do? When you get to that point, just nothing. And then it all falls into place because you're not trying to push anything. You're
Mhm.
not trying to force anything. And then suddenly my partner said, Gareth's house sold, my house sold. And then the house that we were buying originally fell through. Well, my buyer fell through. And then I just went, get it, totally get it. And then suddenly my buyer's had another buyer within like about 4 days of this announcement, and everything went bing bang bong, and we'd relocated. And you look back at all of those challenges that I had that impacted my life so tremendously, but they have to happen to enable you to move forward, which is where you come to those challenges, and that being that resilience and that being comfortable with the uncomfortable. Because
Mhm.
I wouldn't want to have another year like that, particularly because it was it was bits of everything that I'd dealt with over the years, different challenges, but it really forced me to deal with boundaries and find out more about behavior. It enabled us to move forward. It enabled me to let go of stuff that no longer served me. Everything stopped. And 2024 for me has been a year of sort of realigning and finding my way. And I don't know how you found it once you moved, but
Mhm.
when you cut yourself off from what has been your your normality, or when it's forced upon you, I don't know, let's talk about people and redundancies and things like that. It forces you into a position of change, doesn't it? And if you are actually proactively doing that, which is what you did, being disruptive,
Yeah. Yeah.
you put yourself voluntarily into that position for that period of growth, which is ultimately what happened to me in
Yeah, and
2023.
I'm just hearing you say all of that. I think there is this aspect of are you going to allow the change to happen to you, or are you just going to embrace it? And I do wonder, and I wonder for myself, but also for others, is that the labels and the control, perceived control
Hmm.
around the things that happen around us, is that actually there really is quite a, most of the things that happen to us um, are not within our control. So and I'm asking myself this question as I'm talking, why do I believe that I can own and control a situation or an event? And it's because often it's not necessarily just in that moment. There's a number of different other factors that have kind of happened, behind. So is this then becomes an aspect around faith? And you kind of mentioned that about, kind of letting go of the vine, or trusting and letting go
Hmm.
of, what actually in this moment in time, on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is death, how important is this?
Hmm.
So I think often context needs to, yes, it might be a really shit situation, and other people are doing or saying things, or a multitude of things at any one moment in time. But in the grand scheme of things, when you end up looking back in a period of time, is this actually going to be that bad? And look at what's happened within your life, um, where you're at now,
Hmm.
and where you and Gareth are living is completely different to where you were. And if I'd have said to you 5 years ago, "Hey Sarah, you're going to be with a new fella. You're gonna be living in Norfolk, and you're gonna have be entering into a new space and a new journey, exploring different things." Like, who would have known that that was going to happen?
Exactly, especially when I thought I was going to go to South Wales. Exactly. But that's it. I mean, I like to think that I'm causing an effect rather than being cause and effect. I mean, like I've said, yes, 2023 was an ambush of everything. And, it's not that I've not dealt with sort of challenges and faced and had to deal with resilience over the last 20 years. Because when I got divorced, I really embarked on, oh gosh, 20 years. So, yeah, and talking about 5 years ago, 20 years ago, I left my ex-husband and I had, well, that's around about the time we met, not long
Yeah,
after that. And I started from scratch. I got no social life. I hadn't been out for 6 years, was post having Fred. I'd not had any life. I'd not got a social, I hadn't got any sort of real friends of my own. I'd say, yeah, I'd socialize at work,
yeah.
and there were people that I'd sort of started to meet, but the people that when I did socialize, it was as a couple. I never had an independent social life particularly. So it's been like this, oh, like I was like a sponge to start with, and taking all this information in, and it's just like it just built momentum, but it was actually only reawakening what was already within me. And that
Mm,
is actually trusting yourself. And you've come back to labels, as you've mentioned that a couple of times. And I'm a real, it's like no about labels, because labels, yes, they can help people have a commonality with other people so they don't feel that they're alone. But actually, what are we? But we are just individuals. And if everybody just accepted each other for being the unique individual that they actually were, we wouldn't have the conflict that we've got going on, because we've all got different ways of accessing. Let's talk what you mentioned, religion, sort of spirituality, etc. We've all got different
mm,
ways, and it could be science, it could be anything, of accessing the same information that we're all inherently understand that is available to us, but we all have different wiring in our brains and different societal sort of environments that which we grow up in, which influence how we potentially actually access that information. But
mhm,
actually, when it comes down to it, it's digging down into the self and what we inherently know. And if we're doing things from a heart-centered perspective and understand that we create the reality through the thoughts that we have, because the thoughts in themselves are an energy. And so therefore it's also important to be mindful of the language that we actually use, because that impacts our reality as well, because the subconscious doesn't recognize the negative, as you know. And so whatever we're saying to outwardly, we are ingesting internally, and we are creating through thought. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just to be aware and mindful at all times, and to learn from what's going on and to embrace it, because the only thing we've got, the constants, is change. But just people just accepted each other if they were.
yeah.
We wouldn't need all
Um,
these labels to determine. We'd be going, well, yeah, that's so and so. That's how that's their behaviour. That's kind of like normal for them. But it's about
yeah.
understanding. Mm.
I often wonder though that the labels often, for some, create a level of comfort, so a level of
Mm.
safety, and actually we're taught that fear and my acronym for fear is false evidence appearing real,
Mm-hmm.
that fear is a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, when we're able to embrace and stand up in that moment, it can be exhilarating. You know, I don't like heights.
Well, that's you and me
My
both. It's like, oh, don't let me
yeah,
think about the edge of a cliff. I'm sitting back already.
my old story to myself was that heights are bad, and you know, the impending fear
Doom.
of doom, of hurting, you know, and there's trauma that obviously sits behind that with, you know, with what happened to me when I was younger, but um not major trauma. It was just falling off a garage because I kicked the ball over, fell off the garage, broke my arm, and you know, there started a pattern and a story.
But
So
that was
what
to
I
keep
found
you
my
safe, wasn't it? I mean, those patterns
absolutely,
based on that fear is to keep you safe. So it's like
yep,
don't go back to an edge because it
yep,
hurts. But you could
yep,
actually have some healing through that, and that would remove that, and you could reframe it, and you see that as a different. Once you've got a different language around it, because actually you said fear. To me,
yep.
it's excitement and exhilaration is the word that you mentioned, dressed up in another language.
Absolutely. So now, if I find myself at a theme park, it's like, okay, so what I end up doing is I go through this process in my head is like, okay, cool, right. So there's a ride that's in front of me. What are the chances that I'm going to die? Very, very small. Okay, so I'm now playing with the discomfort of going, right, okay, so um what I'll do is I'll go on to, I'm just trying to think, when I was back in the UK, I went on the Wicker Man at Alton Towers.
Okay.
And I just sat there and it was like, okay, right, so I'm gonna close my eyes, I'm gonna find a way of breathing through, and in the sense of allowing myself to just be fully present and just kind of go, right, okay, cool, center, breathe, whatever else is going on behind me, just breathe into it. So like I'm kind of going around this roller coaster and just kind of
This
like
sounds to
smile.
me like self-flagellation.
But it's
I'm
that's
going to suffer.
but what that means, that what that is for me is that I'm testing those boundaries and saying to myself, at the point of where you think something, you can't do it, you can, you just need this needs to be that reframe. So yeah, I don't do that every day. It's just when I find myself there.
I tell you what, though, in talking of theme parks, I'm actually not a big theme park person because I get that motion sickness, and that is, it's not that there's not the fear there, but if something's going round and round. So I went on one of these. The last time I went to Bolton Towers was the last time. I'm never going again. Um, but I thought, oh, that should be all right. And I can't remember which one it is, but it hooks you in. And
Yeah,
you because I don't like the things that go round and round whilst they're going round and
yeah,
round. That's what I don't like. But anyway, this one is on a big, I don't know, twisty thing, but it's you're
yeah,
hooked in. I thought, do you know what? It'll be fine. I'll hook myself in. I'll go into it. Oh my, you were such a speed. It's whipping you round. And I
yeah,
came off and I was like, I felt so, I can't believe I actually wasn't physically sick. I had to sit. I could barely
yeah.
walk, and I had to sit for probably about half an hour before I could actually walk enough to get to the car. And then we went back. This was ex-partner years ago. Went back to where we were stopping in this B&B somewhere, and had to sleep. Nearly missed dinner just to sleep to
Wow. Just to allow
rebalance.
your body to recalm. Yeah,
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 just no. Because and I say it wasn't anything to do with fear. It was
yeah,
literally that what it was doing. Because actually we're atoms, are vibrating at a certain frequency to create the physical form we're actually in. So we're just all energy. So that energy had been scrambled so much, it was so disorientating for me that I had to just recalibrate. Like, oh, no, we're not doing that again. Goodness me. But yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying about those sort of the labels, that for some it can create that sense of community, but that's where the herd instinct comes in, unfortunately, and that's where
yeah.
then people get controlled, because actually if you allow yourself to be controlled, and
Hmm.
you listen to and you believe the stuff that's going on, because you're told that if you don't do this, you don't do that. In fact, I was just before we jumped on to record, I'm in a Facebook group to do with Insight Timer, and somebody had asked something, somebody was talking about something else, and it was interesting because Gareth and I had just been talking about the impact of marketing that's had on the world.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody said that they used to work for a global organization marketing company, and it just was really icky for her because basically what I know anyway about sales and marketing is that they work on your fear factor
Yep.
and lack. That if
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have that fear of missing out, that FOMO, that sort of lack, and if the success doesn't come unless you've got that, your Gucci, your Chanel, you're this or you're that on the other. And actually, success comes from the simplest things, and that's being content and being happy. I'm not earning the money
Yep.
I used to earn when I ran my recruitment business. Not at the moment. I have confidence that that will turn around and the money will generate. I don't know how. You don't need to know the how. You need to know the destination. And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I've got a voice for getting on the TV, on the radio globally, properly, which is what this fantastic podcast has enabled me to do, but really have a presence because
Yep.
the energy that I believe, this is obviously my own belief that I like to project, and my perception of life and focus on happiness and all things positive and looking and shifting things from a different perspective can be generated far and wide through, a channel that has more reach than that I have currently.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got the energy to do that, and that's where I see myself, along with my coaching as well.
Yeah.
But teaching through a different methodology.
I just want to pick up on something there. It's I think there's this aspect for me around there's the aspect of truth and what we get told. So you mentioned there are kind
Mm-hmm.
of about sales and marketing.
Yeah.
So there's three sides to every story. There's your side, there's my side, and then there's the truth, which is actually sits in the middle.
Yeah.
Because uh, each of us bring our own perceptions and our own interpretations into the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look around and I see I see the media or I see marketing messages, I find myself, and this is the inquisitive and the wonderment and the challenge. It's like, okay, so, and I'm sure you've been in this situation before. So I look at the work that I've done as a business owner, as a director, as an
Yeah.
independent chair, and there's often conversations that happen in the boardroom,
Mm-hmm.
um, because you know stuff is happening, change is going on all of the
Yeah.
time, but those conversations don't make it into the public domain. The information is censored, is dumbed down or dumbed up depending on what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So I look at a message that comes and it's like, okay, so this is what they want me to hear.
Yeah.
Why do they want me to hear this? What's the context that actually is going on behind? So, if I think back to the situation with COVID and the messaging that was coming through there, if I think about what's kind of going on in the US at the moment, with the orders around kind of diversity and inclusion,
Mm.
it's like um, it feels as if there's an awakening that is coming around individuals being present for self and for others, and this ability to kind of lean into and kind of going, so help me understand why are you telling me this,
Mm-hmm.
like not believing. I look at my parents, and my parents are often telling me, oh, all of this stuff going on in the news. It's like, okay, so that generation was shown a particular way.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose being a coach like you, I just find myself in the situation where I'm asking the information that's in front of me, is this the right information, or am I
Mm-hmm.
getting a version of the truth? And if I'm getting a version of the truth, I'm not a conspiracy theorist because I haven't got the time or the energy to go down those rabbit holes.
Yeah.
But I kind of look at it and go, there's something here that's different, and I'm just going to sit in that place of wondering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, absolutely. But that's the benefit that you and I both have of being more awakened, more enlightened, we've done the work. We've
Hmm.
got a naturally curious. I mean, I've always had a curious mind. I mean, I was my gran. You could leave my gran at a bus stop for 10 minutes and she'd have somebody's life history. That's that's the family background I've had. But you know, we are aware, but the masses aren't, and the masses get spoken to. But yes, I hear what you are saying about all of that, and
Mhm.
I have my own perception and belief on around all of this because of my understanding of we, I believe that we choose the lifetime that we have before we have the lifetime that we have, and we choose to have the experiences that we have. And so we don't know that when we're born, because we just don't, because that wouldn't enable us to have the lessons if we knew why we'd come in the first place. So you wouldn't embrace them. But the choices that we have choices to make every single day of our life, decisions to make. And people who think they can't make a decision do, because you're constantly making a decision about whether you're
Mm.
having a cup of tea or what you're having for breakfast or what you're doing, because it's ingrained. But I believe those, that people will choose particular um lifetimes to maybe awaken other people, to bring them out of the summer. Because the thing is, with all the stuff that the way I see it that's going on in the States at the moment, I don't agree with any of it personally. However, I see why it's happening, because actually all of that stuff was happening in the unseen, and now it's actually in the scene and people can see it.
Yep.
It then awakens people to go, whoa. Because when I come back to acceptance, people, my belief is that, we accept we are all part of the same whole. We are all part of the same energy. We are all atoms vibrating at a frequency. I was watching,
Yep.
and I wish I could remember the name of the guy who was he's American, but he's actually, well, he lives in America now. So I think Dr. Turin, I can't remember. He was on watching him on Amazon or something like that. Anyway, when he was talking, this is the first video I watched. Okay, I talk about, people choose the lifetimes that they have to have the experiences that they have, and we are just experiencing this stuff to raise our level of awareness. It's why when I got divorced, I decided I've got this opportunity to have a second stab at life in this lifetime. I'm going to choose to do things differently, because I'd got caught up into a world that I believed that I'd allowed to happen. But when I learned more about narcissism, I realized that you can't take that level of responsibility, because it happens with a drip 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 effect, and you suddenly don't realize you're in this world you've been extracted from sort of family and friends and things like that. And anyway, in learning,
Mm.
I mean, it's just constant learning, Adam. It's just
Absolutely.
constant learning.
Every day's a school day.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But I've learned so much. My life looks nothing like it did 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago.
Yep.
Constant change, and that disruptiveness, that's what made me step out and share my, the love of latex and creating my latex account. And because that's an exploration in itself. It's a different sort of feeling. It opens you up to a different world of people who, are embracing things. Some people are happy to talk about it. Other people, don't want to talk about it, because obviously it's
Mm.
deemed to be, it's got this sort of real sexual connotation. Whereas I like it for the sort of the fashion. It looks great. I mean, you see people on the catwalk wearing latex, and that's
Yep.
it. That's the difference. People think it's acceptable on the television, but actually, if somebody else is doing it who's not on the television, it's not acceptable. Why? Hello.
Yeah. And then there's the judgments that come with it. Is
Oh,
that, and actually that's not about you. That's about their own hang-ups, their own stories, and their own
exactly.
insecurities. Yeah.
Exactly. But then am I being provocative, and am I being disruptive to enable them to address that within themselves? But unless you understand that, you're not going to do the work. And
No.
that's where the challenge comes from. You'll get this as well from a coaching perspective. You've got people that that would benefit from coaching, and they would like to benefit from coaching, but they tend to think, well, I'll come to have some coaching when I've got my life sorted out. Hello, no. But
Yeah.
and you can't tell somebody that they need coaching. People have to be ready for coaching, for the coaching, the outcome, the desired outcomes to actually have an impact.
I
Because
hear you.
you
Yep.
have to be ready for it. And if you're not ready for it, you're not going to see it. And even if you see it, I've got somebody I'm in communication with at the moment who wants some coaching with me. But oh no, well, I've got all these expenses going on. I can't. And you can hear this dialogue, this sort of victim, self-perpetuating, um uh, no, what's the word I'm looking for? There's this codependency going on in this relationship. The bits that I've picked up from what I've
Yep.
I've had in terms of communication, of this codependency, there's victim mentality, there's what rescuer as well in there,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
just like, oh my gosh, I could help you so much, but you're just constantly making excuses for not being able to. Is that people pleasing? And it just, I'm here when you're ready, but I'm not going to. Oh, all right, then I tell you what, I'll coach you for nothing. Well, how is that going to help?
Yeah. And I mean,
Boundaries?
and I think that's the thing is often, I've seen it many times that there's a there's a perception or a feeling there's a need there, but the burning platform is not strong enough for
Mhm,
them to make the decision. So, yes, and I think part of it for some people is that I hear other people, it kind of goes back to what you said before. There's a level of FOMO. Oh, everybody else is doing it. Oh, I think I need to do
mhm,
it. And actually, the invitation is to go, okay, so why do you feel that you need it? Well, what's going on? And for anybody that's listening, the invitation is to just have 2 or 3 sessions with any coach
mhm.
and give it the chance and the opportunity to just be held. Like you mentioned
Yeah.
before we started recording, hold the space, allow yourself to be
Mhm.
held, allow the questions to come from the person that's coaching you to go down the path, the rabbit hole, into the spaces. And one of the reasons why I know that you and I get on so well is that our styles are very similar.
Yeah.
Is I don't know when I start a coaching session or a podcast where we're going to go, because I'm guided by what's in front of me.
Yeah.
And I love that exploratory and that wonderment and that, like, oh, okay, so help me understand why you're thinking that.
Mhm.
Oh, okay, cool. Anything else going on? When was the last time you, like, just going down and,
Oh
oh
gosh, yeah,
yeah.
exactly, exactly. I mean, yeah, it's exciting and I love it and I love holding that space. With the clients that I work with, we go off at all different tangents. As I say, it could be we're sort of starting off at one route. Well, I want to build my business and I want to do all of this, but and I want it tonight. Well, let's talk about patience and where does that? Oh, okay. Well, we need to. Oh, well, actually, this takes me back to when I was. Well, tell you what. Let's go to a point where that was. When was that for you? Oh, right. Okay. Let's explore that. What does that feel like? What does that sound like? And we're going really deep. I'm going all tingly now. We can go into a really deep sort of past life or, past current life sort of experience and recreate that whole experience around that particular memory to
Mhm.
reframe it and to anchor it there so that that changes the shape and the message that has been a bit like you're falling off the garage roof. If I was to work with you, I'd be talking about it and we could talk about it and reframe it and look at it in a different way. So whereby you would then come out of that with a completely different experience of what happened and why that happened and how it's kept you safe moving forward. But actually now you can let it go because it no longer serves you because you are more aware and you don't need to keep on self-flagellating yourself to go onto a ride at Elton Towers unless you really want to go on it. But then we go straight back into the business in the boardroom and going, okay, and you could be
Yeah.
talking about stuff that's in a completely different language to what I understand because I don't necessarily understand I don't know. I mean, I know your background with IT tech and things like that, but I wouldn't need, but it's the energy around it all. And fundamentally, we're all human and it's that sort of level of energy. You don't need to know, we're just people and
No.
it's human experiences and interactions. That's where it comes in. I mean, I've got another one of my clients is like quite senior in sort of tech. Well, in fact, a couple of clients really senior tech world and global stuff and things like that. And it's like, well,
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing for me is that as I often speak about this aspect of consultant, mentor, coach. A
mm,
consultant knows and understands the industry, the sector, the vertical that,
mhm.
that you're in,
Yeah, yeah.
and can offer um, guidance and support in answering the questions that you probably already know the answer to, but you're looking for the verification. Um, a mentor has been there, done that, got the t-shirt, probably within the vertical space that you're that
Mhm,
you're in. So very industry focused, etc. A coach doesn't need to know anything. In fact, actually, I often talk about the aspect of curse of knowledge. The fact that they don't know anything and they don't know the individuals means that they're just dealing with what's in front of them in that moment
mhm.
and can listen to them respond and go deeper. So often I've had over the years people like, oh yeah, but Adam, you don't know my industry. I'm like, I don't care. Like, doesn't bother me. It's
No,
not going to make any difference
no,
whatsoever.
no. exactly. It makes no difference. I mean, I can work very much as a coach and mentor with people who've got, certain size businesses. I mean, my recruitment was a 6-figure business, but the and I could go in as a consultant within the recruitment sector, but that, yeah, I mean, you just pull in whatever you need. But as you say, when you're a coach, you can work with anybody in any sector, because it's all to do with energy, and it's being human, and we're just all human. And actually, I blend the personal and professional together, and I hold that space, which is why, coming back to labels, I was always hesitant to have a niche because, it's like, oh, no, because I can help, if we do midlife, we can do relationships, we can do careers, we can do career changes, we can do business, we can do
Yeah.
life, it's all
Everything.
packaged together. Crikey. Blimey. We could talk for hours, Adam, and
We
invariably we
could.
will do. And we've got different ends of the world. And Adam's heading towards bedtime, and
I am.
I'm still sort of ready for my second coffee. I think we better not
Uh,
leave it as long next time, Adam.
no, no, definitely. You never know. I might be in the UK at some point. Who knows?
Oh, that would be good. That would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you'll have to let
Yeah.
me know. It'd be great to
Come on,
meet up
come on. I
again.
don't know
It's
why. I don't know why I want to say Norfolk Broads in a Yorkshire accent. I'm not really sure. I don't know. What is the accent in Norfolk? Do they have?
what's have you got a life boy?
Oh,
Or have you got a life boy? Oh, look at nice
oh,
view over there. No,
oh.
that's a bit West Country, isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to
No,
say that's a bit West Country, and then you
but it's
kind of
very much a
move down
voo.
into.
A voo.
Oh, okay.
A
Vu.
voo is and
Mm.
have you got a light boy? That's Norfolky accent, I think.
Well, there we
You could
go.
try that. I keep on hearing people
Mm.
trying to do Geordie accents and saying, "I'm going to say Terra Masala," to get you into the
Louis
accent.
Kawasaki.
Kawasaki,
Kawasaki.
Kawasaki Terra Masala.
Louis. Go down the tune. I hope we're not putting this in the podcast.
Oh, I don't know. I think it's entertaining. It's entertaining.
Uh,
Oh, that the way that the way that the mind works is it's a curious tool.
Curiouser and
Curious.
curiouser.
Oh yes.
That's my Dr. Evil
Oh,
impression.
I say.
Yes.
Oh, who was the other one that says curiouser and curiouser? Oh, that's Alice, isn't it? Curiouser and curiouser,
Yes.
said Alice.
Yeah.
Alice in Wonderland. Yeah.
Alice through the looking glass. Yeah, there we go.
Yes. There we go. Anyway, on that note,
On that bombshell.
on that bombshell, on the fact that we've both completely lost the plot as we come to an end. Oh, brilliant. Oh, it's been great catching up, Adam. It really has. And I hope you've all enjoyed this. But how do people get hold of you, Adam, if they want to find out more?
Yes. So my business is called Frank and Fearless, frankandfearless.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, Adam Harris. You can find me on Facebook. Yeah, or just if you can't find me, reach out to Sarah and then she'll put you in touch with me.
Indeed.
So
Indeed.
yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. And thank you so much. And thank you all for listening. I hope you've enjoyed and this very, very entertaining and insightful podcast with Adam. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been brilliant. Nothing better than catching up with somebody you get on really well with and have the same mindset and thought process with. It's just awesome. And that actually, folks, is a message to you all to really find your tribe and find your people, because actually when you do, and when you are within people that support you, get you, and want what's best for you, you can live your best life. You don't need all the things that you're told that you need to be successful. You can just enjoy living. And you can find me over at sarahjnaylor.com, or just email me at hello@sarahjnaylor.com, or on LinkedIn or anywhere else. Just Google me, you'll find me. Have a great rest of the day, week, month, year, whenever it is that you're listening to this. Thank you all. And thank you again, Adam. Take care, everyone.